So you want to be a gangster? Well, here's the top 10 biggest gangsters from the gangster city of Chicago, and let's see how they turned out. At number 10, you have Jeff Ford, otherwise known as Chief Malik, said to be the co-founder and leader of one of the most largest and notorious organizations in Chicago that's still active today. He was incarcerated in 1986 and is currently serving 8 life terms in a supermax prison in Florence, Colorado for crimes such as drug and weapons trafficking charges. At number 9, you have Willie Lloyd, and they called him the King of Kings, said to be the leader and co-founder of one of the largest and oldest organizations in Chicago. He was able to retire, and after surviving an assassination attempt on his life in the neighborhood that he never left, he relocated, where he died shortly thereafter at the age of 64. At number 8, you have Gustavo Colon, otherwise known as Lord Gino, said to be the co-founder and once leader of one of the largest organizations not just in Chicago, but in America today. He was incarcerated in 1971 after being convicted of a homicide, but a day before his release in 1997 was indicted by the feds for operating a multi-million-dollar drug ring while in prison. He is currently serving life for drug trafficking charges. At number 7 is David Barksdale, also known as King David, said to be the co-founder and once leader of one of the largest and still active organizations in Chicago today. After an assassination attempt on his life left him injured, he later died of his injuries from kidney failure at the age of 27. At number 6 is Larry Hoover, also known as King Larry, said to be the co-founder and once leader of one of the largest and still active organizations not just in Chicago, but in America today. He was first incarcerated in 1973 and is still serving 6 life terms at the Supermax prison in Florence, Colorado. At number 5, you have Frank Nitti, otherwise known as the Enforcer, and he changed the game in Chicago when it came to organized crime, but he lost his mind in the process and wound up taking his own life shortly thereafter. At number 4 is George Nelson, also known as Babyface Nelson. They also called him Public Enemy Number 1, and he was gunned down by the feds at the age of 26. At number 3 is John Dillinger, and he passed away at the age of 30. The city of Chicago put his corpse on display after they gunned him down, and over 15,000 people came out to pay their last respects. At number 2 is Tony Accardo, otherwise known as the Big Tuna, also known as the Godfather. And this man only spent 1 day in jail. He died a rich and free man at the age of 86 after suffering from lung disease at St. Mary of Nazareth Hospital right here in Chicago. At number 1 is Al Capone, otherwise known as Scarface. A now Hollywood icon, it's hard to overlook all the death and pain that this man caused. Every gangster and mobster cliche you see today is because of him. He died in his mansion in Florida at the age of 48 after suffering from pneumonia and stroke, which led to heart failure.